All right, so get ready, because we're about to jump into some pretty interesting dating advice.
Yeah.
You could say that.
Definitely a unique perspective.
Yeah, we got 2 recordings
Okay.
from this guy, Gary Brodsky,
Mm-hmm.
and his 12 steps to becoming super confident with women.
Right.
And I'm just going to say it right now. It's it's a little out there.
A little spicy.
Yeah, a little spicy for sure.
A lot spicy.
I think we should be upfront about that.
Yeah.
We are not here to tell you
Right.
whether he's right or wrong.
Exactly.
We're just going to kind of break it down.
Yeah.
And we're going to analyze it.
And
take a look at what he's saying.
Yeah, and really get into like what are the assumptions underneath these statements about men and women and about relationships.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're not here to say whether he's right or wrong.
Right.
We're just gonna look at it, analyze it.
And you can decide for yourself.
That's right. Think of it like a critical thinking workout for your dating life.
Okay, so one of the things that kind of jumps out right away is how he talks about women.
Okay.
It's like they're the enemy or something. He really paints them.
It's very...
It's like manipulative and...
black and white.
Yeah.
It's like a battle of the sexes.
Yeah, and they're using these tactics.
Yeah.
Like verbal attacks.
Yeah.
And emotional blackmail to control men.
To control men, yes.
It's a little intense.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing that's so tricky about that is, you know, obviously there are unhealthy relationship patterns that exist with men and women.
Yes.
But to say that all women operate this way is not only inaccurate, but it's incredibly damaging.
Right.
Because it creates this atmosphere of mistrust.
Totally.
From the get-go.
Right away.
Right.
And it's not just like these vague accusations.
Yeah.
He gives like really specific examples.
Okay.
He says women use constant criticism, impossible expectations, and like demands for attention as like forms of abuse.
As forms of abuse, yes. It's intense.
Well, and it's concerning.
Yeah.
Because if you start to frame it that way, like how do you build a healthy relationship?
Exactly.
If you're always viewing your partner as the enemy.
Like you can't, you're constantly on guard.
You're constantly on guard.
Yeah.
You're not open to true connection.
It's a power struggle.
It's a power struggle.
Not a partnership.
Right.
Yeah. And then, okay, so he's really into this idea of like the power of no.
Okay.
He tells this story about this guy, Kenny, who like basically just said no to everything that women asked.
Interesting. So he was just
and somehow became like this dick magnet. It's like the opposite of everything we've ever been told.
Like be accommodating, be attentive.
Be nice.
Right, like be nice.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
No.
Just say no.
Well, and it's interesting because there is some truth to the idea of like having boundaries and not being a pushover can be attractive. But he takes it to this extreme where it's less about healthy boundaries and more about manipulation.
Yeah.
It's like reject women to make them want you.
Yes.
Which is just
like playing a game.
It's a game.
Yeah.
It's not about genuine connection.
It's not. And that ties into his next point.
Okay.
Which is this whole rejection of the nice guy approach.
The nice guy.
He thinks being vulnerable or trying to prove yourself to a woman is the kiss of death.
Yeah.
He's all about like
strength. Being challenging.
Yeah, like never show any weakness. Or jealousy.
Don't be vulnerable.
Yeah, like emotions are just
off the table. Off limits if you want to attract a woman.
It's definitely
so different.
In a different perspective.
From
traditional
relationship advice.
Yeah, where it's all about empathy.
Yeah.
And open communication.
Right. And it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Like, can you really have a fulfilling, lasting relationship?
Yeah.
If you're constantly suppressing
your emotions.
Your emotions.
Keeping people at arm's length.
Yeah. And there's this huge emphasis on
control.
Control. Like men need to be in control.
Okay.
At all times.
Interesting.
And he has this one piece of advice that I found really bizarre.
Oh, boy.
Where he says men can like essentially give women the personalities they want.
Okay.
Like what?
Interesting.
He claims women are so desperate for validation that they'll just like adopt
the identity.
Whatever identity a man projects onto them.
So he's saying like...
You can project onto a woman.
He tells the story about this woman named Madison.
Okay.
Who he kept calling a wild maniac. And supposedly she became one.
Wow.
It just sounds so far-fetched.
That's wild.
And ethically, it's like a huge red flag.
Ethically very questionable.
Like, are you kidding?
Yeah, you're going to manipulate someone.
You're manipulating them into being who you want.
Into being who you want them to be.
Like, that defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's like
finding someone
saying the whole point.
That you connect with.
Yeah.
Authentically.
Of relationships. Yeah. It raises a lot of questions. About respect.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Like, can you truly build a connection?
Right.
If you're trying to mold someone.
Into something they're not.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is.
Okay, and then this focus on control.
Okay.
Takes a really weird turn.
Oh.
In his 9th step.
Right.
He talks about how to gain control by giving women freedom.
That sounds paradoxical. That's interesting.
But he believes that by giving women a sense of freedom, they'll feel more comfortable, more adventurous, and less likely to judge.
Okay.
But there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
Yeah, what is it?
Right.
What's the catch?
So what's the catch?
Yeah.
He also advocates for men to do less for women than they receive in return.
Less than they receive.
So essentially creating a dynamic where she's dependent on him.
Even though she has freedom.
Despite having freedom.
Okay.
It's like control disguised as liberation.
Wow.
Which makes you wonder if it's truly freedom at all. It's like a trick.
Right.
Freedom with an asterisk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's very interesting perspective.
A very interesting perspective, yeah. So we've talked about all this control stuff and this, like, no nice guys philosophy.
Right.
But what does he actually, like, recommend that men do to attract women?
You might be surprised to hear that he's a big believer in compliments.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the same guy.
The same guy.
Who's telling us to, like, reject women.
To reject women.
And don't be nice.
Don't be nice.
At all costs.
Well, for him, compliments are less about genuine appreciation and more about manipulation.
Okay.
He actually uses this analogy of, like, men being ad agencies. Crafting a specific image and then using the compliments to reinforce that image.
I see.
In the woman's mind.
So you're not even complimenting the woman herself.
Not really.
They're complimenting the version of her.
The version that you've created.
That you've created.
In your head.
In your head. Wow.
Yeah. And he believes it works because women are so starved for validation that they'll just readily accept any positive qualities.
So you can basically compliment someone.
You can compliment them.
Into becoming who you want.
Into being who you want them to be.
That's so messed up.
It is a little messed up.
Like, what happens when the compliments stop?
Right.
Does she revert back to her old self?
Right. Does she suddenly become...
Yeah. And what about her own
identity?
Identity.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even acknowledging that?
It definitely raises some ethical questions.
For sure.
And it makes you wonder if a relationship built on this kind of manufactured persona can ever be truly authentic or fulfilling.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
Okay, so compliments as manipulation.
Compliments as manipulation.
What else?
Well, buckle up because this next one's a doozy.
Okay.
He has a huge problem with political correctness.
Oh, really?
Huge.
I wonder why.
He sees it as this emasculating force that's turning men into, and I quote, pussies.
Wow. Okay, that's
a choice.
Yeah, that's something.
It's a choice.
I mean, I guess it makes sense.
It does in a way.
Given his whole, like
his alpha male
mentality, anything that, like, challenges masculinity.
Challenges traditional masculinity.
Is a threat.
Is a threat.
But his language is so extreme.
It is extreme.
But I guess it does tap into this wider societal debate.
Right.
About evolving gender roles.
Exactly.
And what does it even mean?
What does it mean?
To be masculine today.
To be masculine today.
So is he saying that men should just reject all forms of political correctness?
Pretty much.
And just be like...
Be their raw, unfiltered selves.
Their most raw selves.
Yes.
Okay.
He believes that that's what women are truly attracted to.
Really?
This unbridled masculinity.
Okay.
He even goes so far as to say that the rise of political correctness is partly to blame for the increasing popularity of lesbianism.
Hold on. What he's saying, women are becoming lesbians.
That's what he's saying.
Because men are too politically correct.
Because men are too politically correct.
That's a reach.
It is a reach.
It doesn't even make sense.
There's no evidence to back that up.
But I guess it gives you a glimpse into his mindset.
It does.
And, like, his anxieties about changing social norms.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on before I get whiplash.
Okay.
From all these wild theories.
All right.
So what else?
Well, remember his whole thing about pussy-whipped men?
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme throughout his advice.
Okay.
He's constantly warning men about the dangers of losing control in a relationship and becoming subservient to their partners.
Like you become a shell of yourself.
Yeah, you lose your identity, you lose your self-respect.
You're constantly catering to her every whim.
You're at her beck and call.
Exactly.
He even provides a checklist of signs that you're becoming pussy whipped.
Oh, really?
Like prioritizing her needs over your own, being overly sensitive to her moods, and constantly thinking about her.
So basically like being attentive?
Kind of, yeah.
To your partner's needs.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because on one hand, he's encouraging men to be strong and assertive.
Right.
But then on the other hand, he's terrified of them being emotionally vulnerable.
Right.
Or showing any signs of dependence.
It's like this weird contradiction.
It's like you can't win.
You can't win.
Yeah.
And that contradiction is at the heart of a lot of his advice.
Yeah.
This constant push and pull between wanting to control the relationship and being terrified of being controlled by it.
Like you're going to self-sabotage?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if it's even possible to build a healthy, fulfilling relationship.
Based on fear.
Based on this constant fear of being pussy whipped.
Right.
Or does that inherently create distance and prevent genuine connection?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Okay, so we've talked about control.
Right.
Political correctness.
Yes.
The dreaded pussy whipped label.
The dreaded pussy whipped. What else? Well, his thoughts on dating etiquette are, shall we say, unique.
Okay.
He encourages men to treat every interaction with a woman as a potential date, regardless of the context.
It's just like if you're at the grocery store.
If you're at the grocery store.
You should just hit on whoever.
Just hit on them.
Okay.
Yeah, he believes that every encounter is an opportunity to flirt and initiate a romantic connection.
Okay.
He even suggests using unconventional tactics like jokingly threatening a woman or playfully insulting her.
What?
As a way to break down her defenses.
That's bad advice.
It's definitely risky.
Yeah.
But for him, it's all about conveying confidence and dominance.
I think he's confusing confidence.
Yeah.
With just being a jerk.
Right. There's a fine line.
There's a huge line.
Between being assertive and being disrespectful.
Yeah. And that can easily cross the line.
Easily.
Into harassment.
Absolutely.
Which is never okay.
Never okay.
Okay. I think I need a break from this alpha male posturing.
Uh-huh.
What else does he talk about?
Phone calls.
Phone calls.
Big on phone calls.
Okay.
Very specific about how men should handle phone conversations.
Okay.
Believes that men should always maintain the initiative, never seeming too eager or available.
Okay.
Even suggests using booty calls as a way to maintain a casual, no-strings-attached sexual relationship.
It all feels so calculated and manipulative.
It does.
Like you're not even treating the other person.
With any respect.
With respect.
That's right.
It's just a game.
It's a game.
To see who can be the most detached.
Yeah, who can be the most in control.
Yeah.
And again, that ties back into his whole fear.
Of getting hurt.
Of being pussy whipped.
Right.
He thinks that by keeping things casual.
Emotionally distant.
And emotionally distant.
Yeah.
He can avoid getting hurt or losing control.
But at what cost?
At what cost?
Like, is that really how you want to build a relationship?
Right. Is that really?
Based on fear?
What you want.
And manipulation?
It's not the most emotionally healthy approach.
It's not.
And it makes you wonder if it's even possible to find genuine connection and intimacy.
When you're constantly
putting up walls and playing games.
Playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does he reconcile this whole giving women freedom,
right,
but also keeping them dependent thing?
Right.
With this fear of getting too close?
That is a great question.
It's like mixed messages.
It is mixed messages. And it's one of the contradictions that runs throughout his advice.
Okay.
He wants to be in control, but he's also terrified of being controlled.
Right.
Which creates this really confusing dynamic.
So confusing.
He even goes so far as to say that men should be wary of compliments from women because they might be using them as a form of manipulation.
Wait, so now compliments are bad?
Now, compliments are bad.
I thought we were complimenting them.
Right.
To like
manipulate them.
Manipulate their personality.
All about who's in control.
Oh, so if a man gives a compliment.
It's strategic.
It's strategic.
If a woman gives a compliment.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
This is exhausting.
It is exhausting.
And trying to keep up with all these rules.
I know.
And mind games.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It doesn't sound like the most relaxing or enjoyable way to approach dating.
It doesn't.
But to be fair to him.
Okay.
He does offer a somewhat humorous, albeit crude, test.
Okay.
For determining whether a woman is even worth pursuing in the first place.
I'm almost afraid to ask.
Okay, are you ready?
What is it?
He calls it the jerk-off test.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
The jerk-off test.
The jerk-off test.
Okay.
He suggests that men should masturbate while thinking about a woman they're attracted to. If they still desire her after climaxing, then she's a worthy candidate for a relationship.
That's the weirdest dating advice I've ever heard.
It's pretty out there.
That's out there.
But I guess his point is that men should avoid getting too emotionally invested in a woman before they've thoroughly assessed her value.
Oh my God.
And her potential to control them.
So women are just objects to be conquered and controlled.
It's definitely a perspective that reflects a certain level of distrust and objectification towards women.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've made it to the final round.
The final round
of Gary Brodsky's dating boot camp.
Okay.
So after all this talk about manipulation and mind games,
yes,
I'm kind of curious to see what his grand finale is.
Yeah, what's the big
for achieving super confidence?
The culmination. Yeah. Well, one of the key principles he emphasizes in these final steps is the power of acting as if.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's saying that even if you don't feel confident, you should act like you are.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it, exactly.
I mean, I can see how that might work to some degree.
Right, to some degree.
But is it really sustainable?
Yeah. Is that really going to get you
in the long run
to where you want to be?
Yeah.
He takes this idea even further by suggesting that men visualize themselves surrounded by beautiful women constantly being admired and desired.
Yeah.
He believes that by feeding your subconscious these images of success, you can actually manifest them into reality.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Kind of, yeah.
If you believe you're irresistible,
you'll become irresistible.
You become irresistible.
Yeah.
But that just seems a little simplistic to me.
It does oversimplify things.
Yeah.
While there is some truth to the idea that our beliefs can influence our reality, it's not as easy as just flipping a switch in your mind.
Right. Like true confidence comes from a deeper place of self-acceptance, not just from external validation of manufactured fantasies.
It's like he's missing the whole point of genuine connection.
Yeah.
It's not about projecting this image of perfection.
Right.
It's about being vulnerable and authentic.
Exactly.
Okay, so that brings us to his final.
Okay.
And perhaps most controversial step.
Right.
The you are the prize mentality.
You are the prize.
This sounds like it could go really wrong.
It could veer into arrogance and narcissism pretty easily.
So what does he mean?
So he encourages men to shed all doubts and insecurities.
Okay.
And embrace the mindset that they are the ultimate catch.
Like you're the best.
You are the prize.
Okay.
The most desirable men on the planet.
Wow.
He argues that women are inherently drawn to this level of self-assuredness, that it's simply irresistible to them. It just seems like he's setting men up.
For disappointment.
For disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, not every woman is going to be attracted to every man.
Right.
No matter how confident they are.
Exactly. And I think, frankly, the idea of someone walking around believing they are the prize is a bit off-putting.
Totally.
There's a fine line between healthy self-confidence and outright arrogance.
Huge difference.
All right. True confidence is about recognizing your worth while also respecting the worth of others.
Yes.
It's not about putting yourself on a pedestal and expecting everyone to worship you.
It's about finding that balance.
Balance.
Right.
Exactly.
Acknowledging your strengths.
Yes.
But also being aware of your weaknesses.
And being open to growth.
Yeah. And that's kind of what's missing from his approach.
Yeah. I think he's so focused on...
He's hyper-focused on control.
Control and manipulation.
That he's forgetting about genuine connection, vulnerability.
Mutual respect.
Mutual respect.
It's all missing.
Yeah. So after diving deep into Gary Brodsky's world.
The world of Gary Brodsky.
I think it's safe to say his advice is a mixed bag.
To put it mildly.
Yeah. While he does touch on some valid points.
Yeah.
About the importance of self-belief and setting boundaries.
Okay.
I think his overall approach is steeped in manipulation, outdated gender stereotypes.
100%.
And just this fear-based mentality.
Fear-based.
Yeah. And I think his advice...
It could actually be harmful.
Could be harmful.
To both men and women.
Right.
Perpetuating unhealthy relationship dynamics. Preventing the development of genuine intimacy.
Right.
It's definitely not a recipe for healthy, balanced relationships.
So I guess that leaves us with the question...
A question.
Of what does it actually take?
Right. What does it take?
To build fulfilling relationships.
That's the real question.
And I think the biggest takeaway here is that it's not about playing games.
It's not a game.
Or following.
A set of rigid rules.
a set of rigid rules.
No.
It's about authenticity.
Authenticity.
Respect, open communication.
Open communication.
And a willingness to be vulnerable.
Vulnerability is key.
And it's about recognizing that both men and women have something valuable to offer.
Absolutely.
In a relationship.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition.
Or a power struggle.
But a partnership.
A partnership.
Built on
mutual trust and understanding.
It's about seeing each other.
As individuals.
As individuals.
Not stereotypes or conquests.
And that is the true path to superconfidence.
That's the real deal.
Not the manufactured manipulative kind.
Right.
But the kind that comes from knowing yourself.
Loving yourself.
Loving yourself.
And being able to share that authentic self with another person.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you to think critically about the dating advice you encounter.
Whether it's from
a self-proclaimed guru.
A guru or a well-meaning friend.
Don't be afraid to question assumptions.
Challenge those outdated beliefs.
And ultimately, trust your own intuition.
Trust your gut.
And remember, building healthy, fulfilling relationships takes work.
It does.
But it's a journey.
It's a journey.
Worth embarking on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for going on this wild ride.
On this wild ride through the world of dating advice.
The world of dating advice.
Until next time.
Keep those minds open.
Keep those hearts curious.
And keep diving deep.